Hello and welcome back to Cosy Reads. I hope you've all been keeping well. Welcome to part 3 of our series, A Universe Moulded. In today's story, we'll be taking a further look at the first one and godly beings' relationships and learn more about what they mean to each other. So without further ado, let's dive in. He will love the work I've done. I put so much effort into this, and maybe, the godly being said to herself as she darted through the courtyard to meet her lord. The first ones and the godly beings kept a hierarchical relationship, and so the first ones were always at the top, with the godly beings being next, and the mortals being at the bottom. Because of this, the godly beings reported to the first ones, seeing them as lords. As the godly being turned the corner to reach the first one's study, she stopped and composed herself. She always felt a certain longing for the first one, even though this was not allowed, as the two were not even on the same plane, but she couldn't help but feel this way. Due to this, she always had to compose herself whenever meeting him, for fear that she would let slip an indication of her feelings. Once she was ready, she pushed open the door and was greeted by a sight that to anyone else would have been cute and romantic, but to her was dreadful and awful. Beyond the doors and further into the study was the lord of the castle, the first one who had taken her heart and his mistress. Well, she was his wife, but the godly being could not see that, and only saw this woman as a mistress to her true lover. The two first ones were sitting at the desk, on the far side of the study room. The lord of the castle was sitting on the seat, with his wife sitting on his laps, both fixated on some note or letter in front of them. They had not noticed the godly being come into the room, until she had already crossed the middle partition of the room, and had been encroaching onto their side. "Ah, Chastity, a pleasure to see you. Apologies for not noticing you come in sooner. What news do you have?" the lord said, as he looked up at the new arrival. The other first one smiled a warm smile at Chastity before getting up and standing to the side of the lord. Chastity hated that smile. It meant that the first one did not even see her as competition, did not even recognize her as a threat to her man. This angered her to no end, and made her yearn for him even more, fueling her desire to crush the female first one and take the lord for her own. "Thank you for the warm welcome, and no need to apologize. I am here for you, my lord and lady," Chastity replied, having to almost grit her teeth to get out the last part. "I've come with news, my lord. Me and Frederic were out doing the rounds of the local system when we happened upon a universal trotter. It seemed to have become lost from its herd, and so in doing some investigative work, we were able to find out that its home was with the neighbouring first one. She was letting her universal trotters out to wander and feed, and one of them had become stuck in a wormhole and ended up here. She was incredibly grateful for our bravery, especially Frederick's, as he ran into an old one in the wormhole. We were able to send it packing, and so it should not be back here anytime soon. After leaving the neighbouring realm, on our way back here, we did a sweep of the neighbouring systems and found no other trace of old ones. Frederic was incredible and a good leader, and even I was able to provide some support as well, as my detective skills led us to the clues that we needed," Chastity explained, feeling quite proud of herself. "Very good work. Remind me to send my regards to Frederic, and a well done for the work he had been putting in," the lord responded. The lady looked up and could see Chastity's face fall a bit, so in effort to cheer up, she chimed in, "And very good work to you too, Chastity. It sounds like it all went smoothly due to your hard work and planning," the lady said, flashing another warm smile at Chastity. This angered Chastity even more. The fact that her lord did not even acknowledge her hard work, or the fact that the only one who did was a lady that she despised. She was ready to explode, but she needed to keep her cool. She couldn't be letting her emotions get the better of her. "Ah yes, good work, Chastity. But you know you should not be doing such work. You were not made to be putting yourself in harm's way. While I applaud you today, see that you do not let yourself end up in such a situation again," the lord added. Chastity was at the end of her tether, and if she did not burst in rage, then she would break down. She was doing her best to keep her cool and push everything else down below, and for the most part it was working, but she still needed to get out of there. "If that is all, then you are dismissed. Thank you for bringing me this information," the male first one said. Chastity then bowed and immediately turned and left. She couldn't bring herself to say anything, as any attempt to speak would be met with either built-up rage or tears. She hurriedly made her way to her chambers, and once she was in the clear, she screamed as loud as she could, before hitting the walls a few times, and then breaking down crying. going through a cycle of emotions in quick succession. My lord, do you really think it was such a good idea to admonish her in such a way? Her and that Cedric did good work, and she's only trying to please you. It's clear that she has feelings for you, and she wants to be seen as doing good in your eyes, the lady said while wrapping her arms around her lord. She did do good work, but I have told her that outside solar systems are not for someone like her. She's not ready to be going out there, and she definitely does not like me in that way, as she knows I am married, and our people cannot mix in such a way. The lord responded, before looking back at his work clearly busy. The lady simply wrapped her arms tight around him for a bit, whispering to him, "Okay, my dear, but we will resume our conversation later." She then kissed his cheek and went over to grab a book and take a seat on one of the comfortable chairs. As Chastity lay there wallowing in her sadness, she started to remember a mortal story she saw play out, where a disgruntled woman was able to get back at her lover. Maybe she could incorporate this story into her own predicament. And so, after enough wallowing in self-pity, she started to hatch a plan. And that ends part 3 of A Universe Moulded. Hope you've all enjoyed this story, and I hope you have been enjoying this series as well. Tell me about your thoughts on the relationship between the first ones and these godly beings, and feel free to check out Regalion on Amazon. If you like my stories here, then you hopefully like that as well. Or if you want a sort of free-ish preview, then feel free to check it out on Wattpad. The first 10 chapters are on there, so you're more than welcome to just read those, and if you do like it, then you can then check out the full thing on Amazon. But other than that, tune in next time for part 4 of this epic series, and I hope to see you all there. And with part 3 wrapping up, I hope that you're sufficiently warmed up and this story has brought you some level of comfort. I wish you safe travels on the journey of life, and feel free to come back again when you need a new story to warm your day.